Hey, Dean Poirier coming at you. How you guys doing today? For those of you that have seen some of my videos, this one's going to be a little bit different. This one's got a very specific purpose. And actually, I'd like to thank a friend of mine and someone that I hope will someday be my congresswoman, Aja Smith, for reminding me to use social media. California's making it impossible to get this message out, so she reminded me to use social media to do so. The reason for the video, I need a lawyer, and please forgive me if I get, a bit of my emotions here. You'll understand why once you get watching this, and please watch till the end. I'm asking you, please, as a veteran, watch this till the end. It's important. But yeah, I need a lawyer. My nurse at the VA hospital, I found out through my surgeon, I'll go into that a little bit later, kept my pain meds from me. I've went through all the right processes, and before I get any further, let me backtrack a little. I've been talking to a lot of my new conservative American friends on the trail here, and it's been a consensus. I need to not let this drop. I didn't want to cause waves, for our organization, even though I felt I was done wrong. But I'm being reminded that those of us who can fight need to, because there's those who can't. And a little ashamed of myself that even for a fraction of a moment I thought about not fighting this, but I am. And it's been a long process. I was very patient, went through the entire process you're supposed to. Use the VA processes, and I'm getting nowhere with it. I'm gotta get on my notes real quick to make sure I don't forget anything. Quick little background as to what the surgery was. I had a knee replacement a couple years ago. It was actually partial. It failed. I didn't get all the right care I was supposed to, typical VA story, but end result, it failed. I went and got the replacement done. And when I went to the hospital to get the replacement done at Loma Linda VA Hospital, when I was in the stay for the 3 days after the surgery, it was excessively painful. To be honest with you, I was a little ashamed of myself. I wasn't handling the pain that well, or at least that's what I thought it was. As it turns out, on the final day, I was there. My surgeon comes to check on me, one of the surgical team, and first thing he does is start screaming at me. He's like, "Why are you denying your pain meds?" And I'm shocked, and I'm like, "What are you talking about, doc?" He says it again, "Why are you denying your pain meds?" And I didn't get a chance to say anything, and the guy that was in the room with me, he's like, "Doc, he isn't denying any pain meds. He's been in pretty severe pain over there." And I explained to the doctor, I said, "Yeah, I've actually been requesting more meds, and all I've been getting is, there's nothing prescribed for you. I'm not sure what you're talking about." So he left the room, came back to the room a few minutes later after he said he wanted to look at my file, and said, "Tell me that again." And I'm like, "What do you mean, tell you what again?" He says, "Did you deny your pain meds?" And I'm like, "Of course I didn't deny my pain meds." He turned around and left, never saw him again. Okay, I go home, and I check out of the hospital. I come back 3 or 4 days later for my first checkup, and this has been nagging at me. I mean, the doctor came at me pretty hard, so there must be something to this. So when I'm there for that first checkup, I go to the patient advocate's office. The patient advocate, to his credit, was so horrified by what I told him, he went and got the supervisor from that floor that was actually, he checked to make sure it was the same one on schedule that day, and he went and got her, and that's who I spoke with. And in speaking with her, she sat there at the desk, going through the file, looking at stuff to check on what I had said, doing what a good supervisor does, kind of backtracking a little bit, you're on a medication, maybe it seemed like that, surgery's difficult. And I'm like, you know what, I hope that's it. And in the middle of talking to me, she paused and goes, "Oh my God." And at that point, she turns to me and she said, and I said, "Did you find it?" And she said to me right then, in her words, she signed her name to it. And I said, "To what?" She said, "You verbally denied your pain meds." Hi, Bruce. my puppy's down here. And I started to tell her, no, ma'am, I didn't. And she cut me off. She said, of course you didn't. You had knee revision surgery, one of the most painful surgeries that we do here. There's no way you or anyone else is going to be denying your pain meds. Something's not right. Now, I have to admit, she was so fired up, pissed off, I thought things were going to get done. So I left it in her hands. I gave her the rest of the information that day. She told me she was going to look into it, and I left. Months go by. Now, this whole time I'm dealing with the recovery from my knee surgery, which the VA continued to screw up. They didn't give me physical therapy care right away out of the hospital. And then the process for processing the paperwork for me to get my out-of-home care for therapy took an excessive long time. This was a month and a half before I got before I got my therapy. So that was a really messed up situation on top of it. But that actually just kind of kept me occupied instead of going back all the time to find out why I wasn't hearing anything. Which is why it ended up being, I'm getting a drink of water here, almost 3 months. Like I said, I wasn't being overly pushy. I went back to check on it. I was hearing nothing. As it turns out, patient advocate that was there was gone, and there was a new patient advocate. I actually was pretty happy with it. Mike Perez, the former Marine Corps First Sergeant, which, if you can't trust the Marine Corps First Sergeant, whew, you know what I'm saying. So I felt good about that. Well, as it's turned out, it's a good thing I've had him, because he's been pushing all he can, but they've been lying to him. He pushed to, the information I had. I told him about it, filled him in, and he sent them emails to find out what the status is. They got back to him with some bull crap about the fact they had tried to contact me and were not able to get in touch with me. I verified all my electronic possible sources of mail, phones, everything. The fact that I had the same phone number for more than a decade makes it a little hard to say that they called the wrong number. But so when they were telling the patient advocate that they did reach out to me and they just couldn't get to me, that was all bogus. So I informed the patient advocate of that. He then went further up. More time went by, nothing still. Okay, now here we are, almost 9 months later. I'm actually going back. It's getting more serious because I got to go back in the hospital for another surgery. I've got neck surgery that I need because the service-connected stuff I've got is finally moving my neck bones around, and I'm starting to lose feeling in my arm and stuff like that. Those of you who know me from the campaign know some of that was actually why I wasn't able to run again. But anyways, let me get back on point. I went up to the patient advocate's office to complain about how it had been so long. And again, he told me they had sent him emails telling him that they had dealt with it. I made it clear they did not. He actually went and called a supervisor right then and got a supervisor from that floor down on the spot to speak with me. That supervisor, when speaking to me, said he couldn't remember all the details of the case, but he did remember that he saw that I did not get my pain meds during that time period. Well, the supervisor originally said there's no way I would deny them, so that kind of says it right there. But anyways, I didn't make that point to this supervisor. He then went on after I said, well, I'm just really hoping it's not a pattern with her. And he said, no, we actually checked that because I knew that was your concern. And we found no pattern. It seems to be only this one situation. And then without skipping a beat, he says, without any prodding, now we are aware that her political beliefs are very different than yours. But we don't know if that had anything to do with it. I didn't even ask that question right at that moment. So it seems a little suspicious that he knows that that's part of the issue. But don't let me digress too far away. So I leave it there, and I make it clear to him at that point that I want the original supervisor, and I want to meet with her, him, and the patient advocate in an office so we can figure out what's going on, because the information I'm getting now, it seems to be slightly different than what I was getting, and now you're telling me that she was only given a talking to because nothing else could be done. Yeah, you heard me right. They told me the punishment they gave her, that they were trying to inform me of, was a talking to. This nurse kept my meds from me the entire 3 days, pain meds, the entire 3 days I was there. I whined and squirmed like a little child in pain. I'm not proud of it, but that's the reality of what happened. Oh, let me get back on point. After that meeting with that gentleman, I get a phone call from the original female supervisor, which, like I said before, I thought she was going to be on it. She was mad about what she found when she looked at the records. Well, I got her on the phone, and she started to tell me that they dealt with it with a talking to. Again, I couldn't believe it. And I reminded her of the facts of the case and about when we spoke about it face to face. And after doing that on this second phone call, she kind of, you could tell, as she was reminded of the facts and details, she was getting upset. She's like, that's right. Now I remember. Now that you point that out, now I do remember going over this with you. I was upset. I was very upset. I'm like, I know. That's why I thought you were going to take care of it. She says, well, let me check into some more stuff, and I will get back to you. We need to get this dealt with. So she hung up. Again, I thought for sure it was going to get taken care of. And then nothing. And nothing. And nothing. So I go back up to Loma Linda VA, and I speak with Mike Perez, the patient advocate officer again. And I inform him that I went that route. She contacted me, even though I told them that I wanted a face-to-face meeting so no one could be bullshitting me. She tried to deal with it over the phone, and then, like I told him, I reminded her of the facts, and she seemed to be all hot under the collar about it again, was going to deal with it, and then I get nothing. So I think they're covering it. And the patient advocate points out that it's probably time to start calling senators, congressmen, hotlines. Well, I'm an outspoken conservative who was on Sean Flynn's team for his election. And let's just say I'm not getting any answer from my Democratic congressman. So that's why I'm reaching out to you. I'm hoping that you spread this to everyone. I know it's been a little long-winded, and I apologize for that, but I needed to get this out there. And I needed a little bit of context. But I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer that's willing to fight for a veteran, and he's willing to go against a nurse, any admin that have their fingerprints on covering this up. At this point, it's gone too far. It needs to be dealt with, and everyone that tried to cover this up needs to be dealt with. But at minimum, I want to sue this nurse and get her nursing license away from her. She should not be caring for people if she is going to use her political bias and keep pain meds from a patient directly after surgery. That's abuse. There's no other way to frame that. That's abuse. I was under her care. I had no way to care for myself or even know what my care was really being. And she took advantage of that and kept my pain meds from me. And I have to admit, I was a little ashamed of myself how I acted without those pain meds, because I thought it was just me being weak on, about the surgery. So I'm a little happy it wasn't just me. But I'm not very happy about what happened. And I need help. I'll let y'all go now. But someone, please reach out, forward this, everyone. Even if you're the person who's going to help me make this right, forward this to everyone. We need everyone to see it. We need everyone to see it. I hope Fox News finally gets this, because, boy, I've been reaching out to Fox, and they don't seem to care either, because they're not reaching back. But I'm a conservative, I'm a veteran, and I have been mistreated by my VA and a nurse specifically. Someone please help me find a lawyer that'll help me fight this. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the men and women that fight for us today, have fought for us all these other days. You know who I'm talking about. Veterans. And God bless our president.